Hollow Maze.
It is a pleasure to welcome you to this interactive session addressing a pressing issue in Nigeria, flood disaster management, with a particular focus on the Moba Kainji, Jeba Dam in Niger, Iharabaru in Anambra, among others. Flooding has become a recurrent problem in Nigeria, exacerbated by climate change, urbanization, and poor infrastructure. Our goal today is to explore effective measures and solutions to mitigate flood risk, enhance preparedness, and improve our disaster response system. Clearly, the Mopa, Kainji, and Jeba Dam plays a critical role in the management of water resources in Niger State and even beyond. The regulate river flows, provide hydroelectric power, support irrigation, and influence local ecosystems. However, improper management, neglect, and climate impact can lead to devastating flood events. The event historically of flooding around these areas, particularly the May 29 deluge, illustrates the critical needs for effective disaster management strategies. Key areas for discussion and action: awareness and community engagement. Educating communities about flood risk and safety measures is essential. These may include workshops, school programs, and localized training on disaster preparedness. 2. Improve forecasting and early warning system. Deploying technology for accurate weather forecasting and real-time flood alerts will significantly help to curb recurring flood disasters. This includes developing mobile apps and use of community radio programs to disseminate information. Infrastructure maintenance and improvement. Regular maintenance of dams, canals, and drainage systems is yet another potent panacea to stemming the tide of flood disasters. This includes implementation of green infrastructure such as wetland restoration to absorb excess water. Number 4, climate change adaptation strategies. There is an urgent need to incorporate climate change consideration into local disaster management plans. In conclusion, Nigerians, the challenge exposed by flooding is highly in high-density areas like Niger State, with particular reference to Moba, Kainji, and Jeba Dam, require a proactive and collective approach. Together, through community engagement, technological innovation, infrastructure improvement, sound policies, climate adaptation, and strong emergency response framework, we can effectively manage flood risk and protect lives and livelihoods. Call to action. I encourage each and every one of us to be an ambassador of flood disaster management in our respective communities by sharing insights and collaboration together. Thank you for attending this function. Thank you.
Then in other north central areas, especially around Ilorin, who were thinking what happened in Mokwa would have happened in Ilori if it was meteorologically induced. Because Ilori had a very high rainfall of 108.7 millimeters. But Ilori did not experience the kind of flooding that Mokwa experienced. And that is why, to us, we think what happened in Mokwa had some other factors at play on the day the flood occurred. My technical officer can take it from here, sir.
Mr. Chair, additional to what my director said, areas around Mokwa like Kacha and Bakpo and Lavun experience heavy rainfall on the said day that is above normal, and these waters, when they come to the drainage, because it will lead to this kind of flood. And it is important to note that with the changing climate, we are beginning to experience what in Europe they call atmospheric river. And this kind of flood, they come within 4 to 6 hours of rainfall, you have this flash flood. So when the alert comes, between that period of 4 to 6 hours, for it to get to the community, I think we'll have to, as NIMED, work with the community so that we'll be getting this information, because 6 hours to an event, from national to community, I think we have to do this. Thank you, sir.
Interactive session, because we are Nigerians. We are elected to be the voice of the people, to see the affairs of the people and intervene through our powers of oversight in making sure that we support Nigerians, especially when there is need. It is so disheartening that in this 21st century, we are recording losses of life and property of Nigerians as a result of flood. When in some Western countries, before such can happen, that should be an early warning signs. I know NISA, I know the proper mandate of NISA and every other agency that are responsible of telling Nigerians, warning Nigerians, because most of those things that lead to flooding will be said to be natural disaster that you may not be opportunity to manage when it comes. But we should learn to be proactive. One, if they declare that place a danger zone within so time, if the occupants of those areas refuse to evacuate, we know what to do. If a place is being declared danger zone by government and you are asked to leave and you refuse to leave, you may be charged for attempting suicide, because only by the number of lives that we have lost in the recent flood disaster, I blame it to even government and individuals. But we are here to hear from the relevant agencies to know why such should happen. Because there is a division of labor in a way of protecting Nigerians against such occurrence. So this is a call for caution and to be proactive to avoid such an occurrence. But we want to investigate to know the cause of the recent flood disaster in Mokwa, among other places. Thank you. So, Mr. Clark, there are individuals, groups that you speak and tell us what they know about it and why something happened. Okay. Okay, and we hear from the Nigeria Meteorological Agency, NIMET. Thank you.
The flood is a a very common phenomenon in Nigeria. But the unpleasant song is being sung in some North Central, particularly the United States. Mr. Chairman, honorable members of the House, on behalf of the people of Okwa local government area and Niger State government, we sincerely thank this distinguished House committee for convening this all-important interactive section to address the perennial and increasingly devastating challenges of flooding across Nigeria. This platform presents a vital opportunity to collectively confront the hydrological and humanitarian crisis threatening the security, life, and future of many Nigerian communities. We wish to present this position on behalf of the Mokwa local government, even though I can recognize the presence of the honorable chairman of that local government and the state functionaries heavily representing the executive governor of the state. We must commend the sensitivity to this reality by the governor of the state. The background and historical overview of flood in Nigeria. Flood has remained one of the Nigerian most frequent and destructive natural disasters. Over the 2 decades, flood incidents
specifically, what happened in Noko is a particular case. The channel that was affected used to be a very dry channel and having a watershed behind that channel, that is around Nokwa and Scope and Nokwa. But a lot of activity happens in Nokwa. The government of Niger State gave out some construction of roads and also mainstream were positioning a road that is Nokwa to Kainji. So there are new projects that come from with drainages around Nokwa. And what really happened there is not what I believe about it. Because in the past, I'm from Nibusa, and I know that channel very well. It used to be a very dry channel. And when there's the water come to big, heavy flood, I will tell you in the next 2 hours that is dry. So specifically, I want to attribute these causes to town planning, sanitation, waste management, and the rest.
Minister of Environment.
Yeah. So the town planning, that will seriously approach. It used to be a open channel. Before you know it, people are coming to the town planners that continue to allocate plots for residential building, and you continue to approach that channel. And also, the Ministry of Works, the highway will have this 4 cents cost that completely blocked. A lot of heavy sedition. So when this water is coming, though from history, I was told that this kind of thing happened before. Good numbers of years, but that is before us. And with that process, I think these houses that were built in China block the way, the right of way for this water. Every water was found. So these are some of the causes. I think the design the Niger State government did by this time. We check the new layout that is road network that have all this channels. What they are doing there, I want to believe it is not properly designed. With the proper design of the road network and the drainages, we should be able to convert this water to the right channel. Also, the issue of waste management. Mapa used to be a very heavy populated town. So most of the villages in Mapa are safe. Presently, our commission has given a contract of over 5,000 linear meters to the seas, which was almost concluded. And even this week here and the chairman. Also, I found out that something that happens in Mapa around that watershed. They used to have a plantation. One day I was traveling home and find out that plantation is completely clear. I was asking my area, I said, what really happened? That they cleared this thing when we are walking towards afforestation.
Yes.
And the local community are planning plantation of the cashews. And I said this, they are affecting the ecosystem, dealing with the climate change. So I felt the local community should understand that deforestation they did also affected them. And now we have to start working on what is our precision belt. If we cannot even do what they did before, let us have it as a belt. Because their fear is not any more than anything. They say criminals are picking people going to that plantation to do, killing them. And that is why they have to clear plantation.
Thank you. His powers supersede that of the State Minister of Environment.
Yes.
So we're here to oversight the activities of the Federal Minister of Environment. Though we can still hear from the state representative of Mr. Governor from Niger State, who is a commissioner. But we need the presence of Honorable Minister for Environment. Mr. Clark, you will write him. Have a special interaction with him.
Sir, is mainly a result of high rainfall, lack of enforcement of environmental laws on the use of floodplains, and unregulated urban development, which is what I was alluding to. Equally, the railway embankment, the failure of that railway embankment particularly was one of the major causes. Like the just shared now. There's a big watershed behind that embankment. In fact, the rainfall that occurred, particularly upstream of that dry ephemeral tributary from the Mashabu district, was one of the major things that happened. And that was predicted between the 26th and 30th of May 2025. The Ministry of Environment runs what we call the flood early warning system, specifically flood, not weather forecast. And it's a 5-day flood early warning. Sometimes when we get to the peak of rain, we give almost 2 days, 3 days flood warning for specific locations.
Did you write the community, the affected community? Is there any the state?
There's a platform.
You communicate with the state?
Yes, there's a platform for all state commissioners, permanent secretaries, and directors of flood, where this alert goes to. So every state is represented, including the federal capital territory. So that was done. So then quick capacity of the populace preparedness. So those are some of the causes. And then on Kindly and Deba, uncoordinated dam release, sediment build-up of the reservoirs, aging monitoring infrastructure, climate induced rainfall, landform associated with transboundary waters, floodplain encroachment, and poor drainages are one of the problems, one of the causes of flood along the Niger, precipitated by those two dams. I'll give you an instance. February and April, which ordinarily we won't expect to have any flood because it's dry. Yeah, but you have severe loss from flooding for rice farmers and sugar, and the local government, Patigi, all the rice farmers along that route. Heavy losses were secured on their farm, and it was because of maybe delayed ecological release from the dam, or maybe no synergy between them and the farmers. We had to step in when that flood started. We had to communicate with the dam operators to reduce the volume of discharge they were spilling, and that kind of helped submit the problem to an extent. And we have decided to have a tripartite meeting with the dam operators, the Ministry of Environment, the Ministry of Water, and the Ministry of Agriculture, so that subsequently such things will not happen again.
Permit me to stand on the already established protocol, sir. I would first of all like to appreciate the chairman of this committee for putting up this interactive session. It's one of a kind, and I've never seen it happen before. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. It is timely, and I believe the result will lead fruitful means to the aversion and strategies to mitigate further occurrences of such incidents. Thank you very much, sir. I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed committee, particularly the chairman and his wonderful members for his tireless effort and unwavering dedication in advancing the agency's activities. Your visionary leadership and encouragement have been instrumental in propelling us towards our goal, and your commitment to excellence is truly inspiring. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and Noble Committee. Now, what happened in Mokwa, in particular, that what major it was in flooding was that railway embankment. That was the only reason that made that incident different. There was an railway, there's a railway embankment up to about 4 meters height that was actually stopping the water from draining River Niger upstream. That was the major reason. That was just it. It has nothing to do with Nigeria, it has nothing to do with Jebba. Jebba and Nigeria are downstream, completely off because of major causes of devastation. Now, that railway, I think, was innovated sometimes around 2018 or 2019 because it was blocked. There was some infrastructure and there was some drainage that was going through the railway embankment to flow down the river Dingy. Now, what happened was after the innovation, they blocked completely those drainage systems that is supposed to allow the water to drain through the night. So now the water piled over the years. Since 2023, based on my visitation, because I was there, since around 2023, most of the people of Mokwa settlement have lost their farms because of the collection of water upstream behind the railway embankment. Now, it has been eating up that embankment because it is purely soil. There wasn't any structural framework to support the railway. It was just purely soil. It has been eating it up, losing its strength to hold water anymore. Then that fateful night, it lost its strength completely and the water punctured it. And that was why it came with huge force and took over the settlement on that river. Yeah, certainly there are a lot of aquatic activities where people have settled on that same river. Why? Because over the years after that railway embankment was made, there was no water flowing on that river anymore. So people found it convenient to just settle there. That was the major cause of that particular flooding. However, I had a long meeting discussion with the MD of Nigeria Railway Corporation, and we are putting up a team to probe all railway lines because I noticed a lot of other places, apart from that river Dingy in Mokwa, a lot of other places they are building the railways. That's the same thing, same practice they are doing. So to avert future occurrence, we are probing all the railway lines, including all the federal highways that are being put up now, to make sure that waterways are maintained, certainly to avoid such occurrence. Thank you very much.
The duties of NIMET, as specified by the law, you know it is their primary responsibility to make that focus, to tell you the level of water, when to release water, management of water, and all what men. But I can see that there is no synergy between some agencies and the NIMET. No synergy. And this has led to loss of lives and property of our Nigerians. So, can you see the importance of this meeting? And any agency, any ministry that is responsible will be indicted after the end of this investigation and exercise. They will probably be indicted and will report to Nigerians that the person is, that ministry or the agency is responsible for what happened in Mokwa, among other places. Please, we have to be very, very careful. Please, Minister of Water Resources, can we hear you, representative of Honorable Minister?
One major catastrophe of flooding incident. So, as a result of this frequent flooding in Nigeria, the then President Muhammad Buhari constituted a presidential committee on flood, and this presidential committee was inaugurated on the 3rd of November 2022. And then the chairman of that flood committee was the then Minister of Water Resources, Engineer Suleiman Adamu. So that the outcome of that committee is that committee, which was an interministerial committee, has a report on the causes of flooding in Nigeria and then the way forward the plan. And so here, the ministry has produced a report of the flood situation in Nigeria. And this is also the plan for the way forward. So the Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation have very two critical documents that if this is implemented in Nigeria, the issue of flood in Nigeria will be a thing of the past. So that this document was submitted to the presidency, presidency, for FEC for ratification. But then the FEC now advised us to take it to NEC. That is the National Economic Council. And then the National Economic Council now met and then said that committee will not be made larger to incorporate drought and desertification, including flooding. And the chairman of this committee is our present minister now, Engineer Joseph Hussein. This committee was launched on the 1st of November 2024. And this committee was charged on the way forward for flood desertification and erosion control. And the chairman of that occasion was the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He was the one that constituted this committee. The NISA DG was there. So many, all the ministries here, they are all there. So where I'm going, sir? Sorry, sir.
Madam,
yes, sir.
All these long stories of committee and former administration and today's administration have caused this number of deaths and loss of lives and property. We are not here to tell us the sequence of committee who
I'm going somewhere.
No, but if we were here to look for a solution, because we gave this document and we have this kind of damages.
Yes, sir. Sir, where I'm actually going is that this year in our council meeting of water resources, part of our resolution is that we would develop a insurance or policy insurance. And then the Ministry of Water Resources is the custodian of flood mitigation and adaptation.
Thank you.
And that flood policy is what the Federal Ministry of Water water resources and sanitation is already doing.
Thank you. Thank you. Please,
I am now hearing that the Federal Ministry of Environment is now calling for policy formulation of the flood.
Okay, madam, wait. Madam, hold on.
When the Vice President has constituted a committee.
Madam, remember you are speaking for. I'm asking all of us, whose responsibility it is, the agency or the ministry that is responsible of releasing water or giving command for the release of water whenever it is necessary in Nigeria?
First time, unlike other years, we predicted right to communities. Before now, we have been predicting local governments alone, but now we have gotten to the stage of communities, meaning we can identify which community is likely to flood. And not just communities alone, we also predict sectors that are prone to flooding, sectors that include healthcare, sectors that include even our transportation, our major routes that are prone to flooding. We predict that. Schools, educational institutions, both tertiary, public, we have this data. And then markets as well. Also this year, not just the annual flood outlook, that is the annual prediction that we do. We also give weekly forecasts, meaning subsequently we issue forecasts to the public, identifying communities, not just states alone or local governments, direct communities that are prone to flooding. Saying this is that we are issuing continuous forecasts, not just a static yearly forecast, continuous forecast about Nigeria and places that are prone to flooding through our dashboard that we also created this year to ensure that the public and our stakeholders have access to direct information on communities that have been flooding.
If you want to say, just hit the point.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Like the Honorable Commissioner said, that they issued out information on 25th. They issued out information on 25th of May.
Written information or verbal?
Written and through radio. And this thing happened on 29th.
They wrote to your office?
They wrote to my office.
You have the copy?
Yes, but it's not here. Yes. But in between, it's just 4 days when we got this information. 4 days is grossly inadequate for us to sensitize people to get prepared for this thing to happen. Though we never knew that it will happen on 29, but when the information got to us, just 4 days in between, this thing now happened.
We used to talk about early warning. Early warning. You give that because those who have to relocate to another place. So because if you have given the information so early, if anybody refuses to evacuate from that place, we will consider the person attempted suicide. That the person attempted to commit suicide.
Yes.
But within these 3 or 4 days may not be enough.
That is what exactly
most of them are rural dwellers.
Yes.
Most of them don't have, and there is no provision.
No provision. Most of them don't listen to
by the government, either the state government or federal government, or where to relocate them.
Yes, sir.
But when it happens, you see mattresses, you see bags of rice, and people will be making some what I don't know through that means. So we don't want that again.
Yes, sir. So sir, I have things like this as a solution. I want to concur with the Honorable Commissioner and what the DG NISA said, that the major problem of Mokwa flood disaster are 2. One is natural and one is artificial. That is human induced. The natural one is that truly there was a rainfall that day. And the rain stopped 30 minutes before this flood occurs. That is natural. But the artificial about it is that this railway embankment, where that thing is supposed to be a bridge, not embankment, which he has earlier highlighted. So railway activities there is one of the causes of that make this flood disaster to be more devastating.
Okay.
And since then, the railway, despite our complaint, despite our
railway corporation, has a lot of questions to answer. As the Honourable Minister for Transport,
And so since these incidents happened, despite our...
No, the other point, you said since such incident happened, they've not visited
the place.
Okay.
They have not come.
Clark, note it down.
Not the Minister of Transportation, neither the MD Railway Corporation have visited this place.
Okay.
So these are the two factors that were responsible for this flood disaster. Honorable Sir, I think it's important as part of the solutions now that this all-important committee visit the place so that you can see for yourself all that people have been saying or things that you've been seeing on telly or social media. Because seeing is believing. By the time you undertake a visit to that place and you are able to assess things for yourself, you will put yourself in our shoe. Another important thing is that we are calling the honorable committee that they should help us to advocate for this Mokwa flood disaster nationally and internationally. Honorable Chairman, yes, we are calling and calling for your support for global advocacy, so that we can attract sympathy, we can attract grants, we can attract interventions from international partners, international donors, especially the International Climate Action Group, so that we can have a lot of things coming to us this year.
Through which agency do we expect such intervention?
Through environment, through, is it the global advocacy?
Yes, the global advocacy.
Environment.
Through which agency or a minister?
Minister of Environment can anchor that because
that is okay.
So there used to be this annual international conference on climate change. There was COP29 last year at Baku. I was privileged to be there. There is going to be COP30 this year in Brazil. So they can use such forum to advocate for Nigeria, and particularly this Mokwa case, so that we can attract a lot of international funds to address most of this problem, not particularly Mokwa, any other area also.
Some other places,
and some other places also. So, because Minister of Environment were in attendance last year, we were all together, but they should make it a frontline agenda this year to present it at the international conference, so that we can end a lot of things to this.
Okay, nice. I can see your hands up. Please, you have 1 minute to any subsequent occurrence. We must work together to prevent it. So, but as it has happened, we must also work hard in order to get support, to support the people of Mokwa, among other places that have such a similar incident, because it happened in Obamu and also Ehala, Anambra State, among other places. So, thank you. Can I hear from Environment, Minister of Environment, representative of Minister of Environment? Please.
Harlow Mays, parliamentary advocacy and journalism redefined.